Shabbat Shalom family. Our selection today, 12 Gates to the City.
Have you heard of a city? Streets are paved with gold.
Have you heard of a city? Streets are paved with gold.
Have you heard of a city? Streets are paved with gold. 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah. Have you heard of a city? Streets are paved with gold.
Have you heard of a city? Streets are paved with gold.
Have you heard of a city? Streets are paved with gold. 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah. 3 gates in the east.
3 gates in the west. 3 gates in the north.
3 gates in the south. 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah. 3 gates in the east.
3 gates in the west. 3 gates in the north.
3 gates in the south. 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah.
Living just enough for the city I'm living. Just enough for the city I'm living. Just enough for the city I'm living. Just enough for the city I'm gonna view that holy city. For the city I'm gonna sing in that holy choir. For the city I'm gonna view that holy city. For the city I'm gonna sing in that holy choir. For the city I'm gonna view that holy city. For the city I'm gonna sing in that holy choir. For the city I'm gonna view that holy city. For the city I'm gonna
Three
sing
gates
that
in the
holy
south.
choir.
3 gates in the east.
3 gates in the west. 3 gates in the north.
3 gates in the south. 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah. 3 gates in the east.
3 gates in the west. 3 gates in the north.
3 gates in the south. 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah.
Living just enough for the
Hallelujah in the city. Built four square in the city. 12 gates to the city. 12 gates to the city. Hallelujah.
The oracles of the UCI. 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby ye are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim, as their children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication, and all uncleanness, or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather given of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you up on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you, to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him and will sup with him and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And as we get ready to deal with Yahweh's holy days, we should be a little bit more attentive to things, especially looking at the things that are happening in the world. We can see that things are increasing bit by bit, day by day. And as it is written, during the times of days of Noah, people kept doing everything that they wanted to do. They did everything that was pleasing unto them until it was too late. And everybody, believes that, we have time to get certain things together. And what if Yahweh is already giving us that time and we're not taking advantage of that time that we need to be getting some things in order? Today's sermon is entitled, Going After the Heart of Yah. Instead of making a futile effort of attempting to understand the mind of Yah, we should be searching the heart of Yah. To search the heart of something is to find out what pleases that entity. We have a hard enough time performing this with earthly creatures. How much more difficult will this be with the creator of all things? The difference is, the Most High tells us what is pleasing unto him. He doesn't change like man. What pleases man in the year 2021 may indeed not be pleasurable unto him in 2022. This changeable way of man makes it very difficult to please him. The Most High Covenant Elohim of all the earth is not like that. He declares in Malachi, I change not. If we are to become spiritually one with him, what pleases him must eventually become pleasing unto us. When we consider even the situation of King David, he said he had found a man after his own heart. So you have to then examine something. David wasn't a sinless man. He wasn't a perfect man. He said, I found a man that was after mine own heart. Then you look at what David was about. David was all about Israel. And he was being trained with the little bitty things that he was doing, as I think it was his brother that said, you know, you left those few sheep in the wilderness. Not knowing that his job with those few sheep was conditioning him and proving him to be a man after Yah's own heart, because he took protecting the sheep seriously. And that was the job of a king, to protect the sheep of Israel. And that's what he did. So when you talk about Yahweh saying he found a man after his own heart, you have to be able to look past the earthly dealings of anybody and look at what their MO is. And he was all about dealing with the things concerning Israel. And that is something that we can now check off the box. That is important unto Israel, which is important unto Yahweh. When you see how these things happen, and you say, hey, Yahweh said this is a man after his own heart. You look at all the wars that David had to fight to unify the children of Israel. They had a king before. Saul wasn't about that business. I mean, he fought if it was beneficial to him. But that whole thing about fighting battles of Israel, this is why a situation and circumstance have taken place even in the sanctuary, so that people will see that there are certain entities that didn't care about anything unless it happened to their family. They could say and do whatever, anything can go on. A mass murderer could be in the street. As long as that mass murderer don't kill their family, then they will stand by and let that individual kill everybody in here. And Yahweh has to let things happen so he can prove to you that's not the kind of leadership that is in his heart. It wasn't that David was perfect. And even when David got called out in his hypocrisy, how did he call him out? Gave him a story about something happening unto Israel. He automatically kicked in to go and protect Israel. He didn't see, blinded by his own desires, that he was the one harming one of Israel at that point. But even to pull him out of his mess. See, that whole scenario about a man being done wrong, you know, that doesn't draw you out if you don't really care about Israel, right? I don't think people get that. Yeah, it was a parable given to show David himself. But if he had went to a brother who didn't care about nobody but himself, that story wasn't going to help him. That story was completely crafted for David because he still generally had love for the people, thereby showing that him and Yahweh had the same heart. So then you watch people and how they deal with other people. Watch people and how they deal with the saints. Then you see if they share the same heart as Yahweh. Let's begin today's sermon in Psalms 147.
Psalms 147 and verse 1. Hallelujah! For it is good to sing praises unto our Elohim, for it is pleasant, and praise is comely. Yahweh does build up Jerusalem. He gathers together the outcasts of Israel. He heals the broken in heart and binds up their wounds. He tells the number of the stars. He calls them all by their names. Great is our Adonai, and of great power his understanding is innocent. It is infinite, pardon me. Yahweh lifts up the meek. He casts the wicked down to the ground. Sing unto Yahweh with thanksgiving. Sing praise upon the harp unto our Elohim. Who covers the heaven with clouds, who prepares rain for the earth, who makes grass to grow upon the mountains. He gives to the beast his food, and to the young ravens which cry. He delights not in the strength of the horse. He takes not pleasure in the legs of a man. Yahweh takes pleasure in them that fear him, in those that hope in his mercy. Hallelujah, O Jerusalem. Praise your Elohim, O Zion. For he has strengthened the bars of your gates. He has blessed your children within you. He makes peace in your borders, and filleth you with the finest of wheat. He sends forth his commandment upon earth. His word runs very swiftly. He gives snow like wool. He scatters the hoarfrost like ashes. He casts forth his ice like morsels. Who can stand before his cold? He sends out his word and melts them. He causes his wind to blow, and the waters flow. He shows his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He has not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Hallelujah.
Right. He has not dealt so with any nation, and this is what causes anger amongst the other nations. That Yahweh has dealt with Israel in a special way, but what people do not understand is having Yahweh deal with you in that special way also gives you a special punishment. See, people want the special attention from Yahweh when it's good attention. But see, that's why it's written, behold the goodness and severity of Elohim. See, what the other nations want to deal with is just the goodness. They don't want to deal with the severity that comes when you don't do what you're supposed to do. And when you look at it from Israel's point of view, man, this it can really look unfair at a time, because the nations were allowed to do some things that we have not been allowed to do. They have been allowed to go in the land of Israel and not keep the statutes. That's the very thing that kicked us out. So then you have to consider what happens when Yahweh has not dealt so with any other nation. That means that, you know, that there's a good part of that and there's a bad part of that. And we have to deal with both of them. Let's go to Job chapter 40. Job chapter 40. And we're going to read that through chapter 41 in verse 10.
Moreover, Yahweh answered Job and said, shall he that contends with the Almighty instruct him?
Right. Shall you instruct Elohim? And when you look at the pride and arrogance that has come upon the earth, and what gives that pride and arrogance is when man has had a certain ability to do some things without punishment. So this is where that entire situation of feeling entitled comes from, because you have some entities who have been able to do sin without repercussion, but Yahweh has given them a certain time. And when that time is up, it is going to be very tumultuous, because that power to do wrong without judgment is going to be gone. Go ahead.
He that reproves Elohim, let him answer it. Then Job answered Yahweh and said, Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer you? I will lay mine hand upon my mouth. Once have I spoken, but I'll not answer. Yes, twice, but I will proceed no further. Then answered Yahweh unto Job out of the whirlwind and said, Gird up your loins now like a man. I will demand to you and declare you unto me. Will you also disannul my judgment? Will you condemn me that you may be righteous?
Listen to that. You know, when you look at a situation, it's bad enough that Yahweh is bringing this to Job. Understand, there are individuals who speak just like this against Yahweh and feel justified in their doing so, because he has not shown them his power. So they have not learned to be afraid. See, when Yahweh wants you to walk right, he will show you his power. You might not like how he show it to you, but he will show you his power so that you learn. See, the person who plays around with electricity and don't respect it, that person is on the edge of death every day. But when Yahweh want to make sure you live, he let one of them electrical wires touch you every now and then. And when you scream at the top of your lungs, you realize, I should respect this what's happening right here. See, the individual who's never been shown that, they keep dealing with it recklessly until one day it takes their life. So the very thing that you often run from is the thing that Yahweh is doing to make sure, hey, I'm going to show you my power so that you learn how to respect it. But then what we do is then we look at our heathen friends and say, well, why ain't nothing happening to them? They're doing the same thing. Oh, they fitted for destruction. Their death certificate has already been signed. Besides, that's Lucifer's kid. I don't discipline his kids. I only discipline mine. Not once do you see somebody come to pick up their child and then go in the cafeteria and start whooping other people's children. No. If they kid did wrong, they come in there. You ain't got to figure out which kid belongs to which parent. Find out which kid is getting whooped by which parent. Well, that their mama, that their dad. You ain't got to you ain't got to study long to figure that out, cause they coming for theirs. Well, Yahweh operates the same way. Why do you think he says sons and daughters? Even though the earth is his, all these children ain't his. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Have you an arm like Elohim? Or can you thunder with a voice like him? Deck yourself now with majesty and excellency, and array yourself with glory and beauty.
This is why it seems unfair that he's dealing with Job, harshly at a point. But Job is a son. You discipline sons. You let Lucifer deal with his own kids because they got a date with the fire. Go ahead.
Cast abroad the rage of your wrath, and behold everyone that is proud, and abase him. Look on everyone that is proud, and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place.
Right, and you can't get any more proud than boasting yourself against Elohim, thinking that you understand him. You can't get any more proud than that. When it was told Nebuchadnezzar about, what would happen, that pride still jumped up out of there. Go ahead.
Hide them in the dust together, and bind their faces in secret. Then will I also confess unto you that your own right hand can save you. Behold now, Behemoth, which I made with you. He eats grass as an ox. Lo now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He moves his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. His bones are as strong as pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is the chief of the ways of Elohim. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Surely the mountains bring him forth food, where all the beasts of the field play. He lies under the shady trees in the covert of the reed and fens. The shady trees cover him with their shadow. The willows of the brook compass him about. Behold, he drinks up a river and hasteth not. He trusts that he can draw up Jordan into his mouth. He takes it with his eyes, his nose pierceth through snares.
So then when you talk about the greatness of Yahweh, which one of us can create anything like this? So the thought process that we would put ourselves in the same arena with Yahweh as if we could understand his thoughts is quite proud. Go ahead.
Can you draw Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord which you letteth down? Can you put an hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto you? Will he speak soft words unto you? Will he make a covenant with you? Will you take him for a servant forever? Will you play with him as with a bird, or will you bind him for your maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Can you fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay your hand upon him. Remember the battle. Do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dares stir him up. Who then is able to stand before him?
Right. If you, who is able to stand when you get here, verse 10, none is so fierce that dares stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? What is he saying? If you can't stand before what I've created, how you going to stand before me? Don't you realize that I am greater than the thing that I created? And you can't stand before the thing that I created. How you going to stand before me? But the arrogance of nothing sets you up more than a win. And we always want to win. And what winning does is make you think that winning gonna keep happening. Especially, don't let it be a win where you really didn't have to do nothing.
You know, man, I got so many skills. I won. I just showed up, you know.
Now, you don't know that the angels fighting for you.
I lifted up my hand and they all fell down. I said, oh my God, I didn't have to swing. My God, I'm awesome.
Your Elohim hadn't got any credit at this point. Because right now, you just think you magnificent. Now, as that keeps going, now you are full of your own situation, and now your winning can now be used against you. Because now winning has now made you careless. Winning has made you look at Elohim and deal with him with a slack hand. You know, I might go, keep the Sabbath this week. Yeah, I might not. I might do this week. I might not. Right. That's what winning does. It's those L's that you take that make you go in and regroup. And when somebody's heart is right, they can take the thought process of an L and have it in their head even while winning. Did you finish that, bro?
Yes.
Let's go to Romans chapter 2. Romans chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 1 through 16.
Therefore you are inexcusable, O man, whosoever you are that judges.
Do we understand what judgment is? Because, some people believe that anything you say about them is judgment. And if you listen to that, then all of a sudden now we can't speak out against nothing. But it's funny. The biggest thing that people love to do is talk. Social media can't get enough. They keep making new social media sites, and every time they do it, It fill up. Yet people will quickly say, don't judge me. Well, if talking is judging, why are you on a talk site? Matter of fact, you're on 3, 4 of them at the same time. Go ahead.
For wherein you judges another, you condemn yourself. For you that judges does the same things. But we are sure that the judgment of Elohim is according to truth against them which commit such things.
When Elohim judge you, you shall be punished. He ain't talking about you.
He not saying, I can't believe you did that.
No. He was like, I'm finna deal with you for doing that. That's judgment. Understand the difference. Go ahead.
And thinketh you this, O man, that judges them which do such things, and judges the same, that you shall escape the judgment of Elohim?
Right. This is how Yeshua knew that the Pharisees were hypocrites. He said they were hypocrites. He already said, listen to what they say, but don't do what they do. This is how he knew when the woman was brought in the act of adultery, he knew it was false judgment. You think he don't know the law? You think he don't understand? Hey man, it's supposed to be a man standing here too. 2 people committed adultery. But it's interesting. You'll read in one place, Yahweh calls out the hypocrisy of the Pharisees. But you have to ask yourself, why didn't he call it out at that point? What he did was drove it out. See, what we would have done was call it out, man, you being a hypocrite. You brought the woman, but you didn't bring the man. So what he did, he drove it out. He went one by one, dealing with them until they left one by one. Then he dealt with the woman. Woman, where are your accusers? She said, I see not any. He said, neither do I. He never said she didn't do it. Even in this wicked place, if they deal with your court case wrong, they have to drop the charges. So what happened? Yeshua dropped the charges. He said she didn't do it. He said, woman, where are your accusers? She said, I see not any. He said, I don't either. Go and sin no more. He said, no more. He knew she did it. But see, that's what happens when you got a good lawyer. They know you're guilty. They know you did it. But if they don't handle your case right, your lawyer know how to get you off on technicalities. Yeshua saw an opportunity. He said, oh, they dealing with this case wrong. He hates wicked judgment. So we look at a situation thinking that he wants judgment so much that he's going to go and punish the woman. What he hates is wicked judgment. So what they brought was worse than what she did. See, we don't see that. We see, man, she committed adultery. Yeah. And they bringing forth wrong judgment. So no. What they're doing is worse than what she did. Go ahead.
Verse 4. Or despise you the riches of his goodness and forbearance and long-suffering, not knowing that the goodness of Elohim leads you to repentance? But after your hardness and impotent heart treasures up unto yourself wrath against the day of wrath and revelation of the righteous judgment of Elohim. Who will render to every man according to his deeds?
Who will render to every man according to his deeds? Whatever you have sown, that shall you reap. Whatever you have planted, that is what's going to grow. Whatever you have put forth in the earth, that is what's going to return back to you sooner or later. And it doesn't matter if you don't remember what all you did.
He's over here said, I spent the whole 80s high. I don't remember what I did.
Don't worry about it. You're going to take judgment sober, though. Don't worry about it. That's not a requirement that you remember what you did when he's punishing you. That's not a requirement. Now, you go figure out why I'm doing this. No, that's not a requirement. So we think if we can hit that selective amnesia switch,
Then, I'm exempt because I don't remember.
lies and propaganda. Go ahead.
To them who by patient continuance in well-doing seek for glory and honor and immortality, eternal life. But unto them that are contentious and do not obey the truth, but obey unrighteousness, indignation and wrath, tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that does evil, of the Yehudi first and also of the Gentiles.
And this has caused the Gentiles to boast, because as when you talk about tribulation and anguish upon every soul of man that does evil, well, the Gentile is in power, so they're able to do more evil, but judgment hasn't come. Then they look at the Jews do something evil, and judgment come before 3:30 this day. He was like, they did wrong at 8:15. Judgment showed up right after lunch. So that gives them an opportunity to boast. Man, ain't nothing happened to us. So that means now they're going to do some more stuff. We don't see the blessing and the judgment coming that causes you to step away. Go ahead.
But glory, honor, and peace to every man that works good, to the Yehudi first and also to the Gentiles. For there is no respect of persons with Elohim.
Right. This is not respect of persons. This is the order in which everything was set up. Go ahead.
For as many as have sinned without law shall also perish without law, and as many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law.
In other words, it doesn't matter which one of those things you want to, well, this is my perspective. Y'all don't care nothing about your perspective. Here we go. For as many as have sinned without law, you will die without law. As many as have sinned in the law shall be judged by the law. One way or another, you're going to deal with that law. I don't care what you think, feel, or believe. And like my elder used to always say, there's a big difference between dying and being judged. We know the saying, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Go ahead.
For not the hearers of the law are just before Elohim, but the doers of the law shall be justified. For when the Gentiles which have not the law do by nature the things contained in the law, these, having not the law, are law unto themselves.
And not having that law and not growing up in that law, and then having the protection of the time that they have to rule, has really caused them to boast against the branches. You go across these television shows where people have done wrong, and instead of them, they rob a bank, they get away with it, and they keep going. And people say, at what point you gonna stop? You keep getting away with it. But the arrogance and pride that's there because they keep getting away with it causes them to keep going further and further and further until ultimately that road ends. And Yahweh knew what manner of people he was dealing with. He said, when I have fed you to the full, then you're going to rebel against me. So some of us can't figure out why we don't have all the things that we want. Because Yahweh know, he probably won't see you on the Sabbath no more. If I give him everything they want, I'll never see him. Then he got to come, knock on your door. Hey, brother, you in there? I mean, did you forget what a Shabbat, was, where it was? You asked me for a house, I gave it to you. You asked me for a car, I gave you 2 of them. You asked me for a woman, I gave you that too. What have you asked for that I have not given you? So why the hell I don't see you no more? Y'all ain't know what he's dealing with. So some of the things we don't have, it's because he want to keep seeing you. Go ahead, bro.
Which show the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness, and their thoughts the meanwhile accusing or else excusing one another. in the day when Elohim shall judge the secrets of men by Yahshua HaMashiach, according to my gospel.
In the day when Elohim shall judge the secrets of men. We all got a judgment we got to deal with. There are books, plural. One of those books got your name on it. Everybody got a novel. And it's got all the stuff in it that pertains to you. And like most books, they don't end like they start. You have to be very careful as to how your book gonna read. Because a whole lot of things sound okay when they're in the moment. When somebody was in the club and somebody stepped on their shoe and they shot them, they really felt justified at that moment. When they get in court and they have to have those actions read back to them, is when you see that look on their face that they now realize just how stupid their actions were. So, as your life is being read back to you, there are certain things that you have repeated with pride. Yeah, man, I went over there, you know what I'm saying? I went right in the back door, you know what I'm saying, Mr. Johnson's house. Miss Johnson was in there, right? Man, I tell you, bro, that might sound good to you until the angel read it.
And then you went into the house, and Mr. Johnson was gone, but Miss Johnson was there.
It's going to sound totally different when the angel read it, I'm telling you. Go ahead, brother. We finished that?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to Isaiah chapter 47. Isaiah 47, and we're going to start that at verse 1.
Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For you shall no more be called tender and delicate.
Are we even noticing that the things are changing around us? Do y'all realize that China just said the same thing to America that Russia said regarding Ukraine? They said point blank, let me tell you, anybody getting our way, this was just hours ago, anybody that decide they're going to interfere with China and Taiwan, you're going to face the consequences. Now, this is the second time in months that statement has been directed at America by two superpowers. We still out partying. Two superpowers have said this to the same country in less than 2 months. One country starts shooting rockets. I'm talking about ballistic missiles in the air just because an American visited a country close to theirs. He didn't come to their country. He came to a country close to theirs, and they start shooting. I don't think we paying attention. We still going on business as usual. Go ahead.
Take the millstones and grind meal. Uncover your locks. Make bare the leg. Uncover the thigh. Pass over the rivers.
Now, this, y'all don't want to be, sometimes, you want to read something from a certain perspective, but, you got to get right down into some of this. Take the millstone, grind meal, uncover your locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh. Something about to happen here. No, something about to go down here. He said, I'm about to expose you. Yeah, uncover your locks, let your hair down. Uncover your thigh. Wait a minute. It sounds like they about to play some soft music and get it going here. What's happening? He said, no. It's your turn. See, this is what happened. The arrogancy of winning sets you up. Because that next L is going to be the hardest L ever. Because you have been conditioned to win. That's the arrogance of the West. We win anything we get in. We get in, we win. Not only do we get in and win, we get in and win and we don't suffer no loss. The only thing we suffer is we have to look at those bombs go off on television.
Oh my goodness, look at what they're doing over there. Baby, you want to go to the mall?
Why do you think Russia said, no longer will the West be able to sit comfortably across the waters while all the turmoil is going on in somebody else's land? Oh, they said, oh, those days over. And when you have people who have gone through conflict after conflict and never any of it hit here, first time a bridge is out, get knocked out. First time, folks here are going to lose their mind. See, we take certain things for granted. Mishael was telling me something. We was riding down when we went to go pick some strawberries. He said, man, I didn't know this street right here go all the way down to McDonough. I said, brother, that street right out there go all the way to Woodstock. He said, what? I said, brother, these used to be the streets before they had highways. People don't remember any of them streets. When they send something here to knock down something, they gonna knock down Spaghetti Junction and all them places. Oh, you're gonna have to find them streets again. You're gonna have to find that one street that'll go all the way from the top of Georgia to the bottom. Then you realize something. That used to be the highway. But see, we've gotten so spoiled, we don't have any reason to have a map anymore. You know, we got a GPS. You know, I don't know where I'm going. I turn on the gypsy. She tell me. But sooner or later, the gypsy gonna stop working. We're gonna actually have to read. I remember the day. Kids remember them days. You had to have more than a map. Only goes through 2 or 3 counties, so we had to put the maps together. Oh, okay, yeah. All right, so after I come down, and then we on the side of the road now, cause we done got as far as we can come with this map. Now we trying to put so. All right, so yeah. And then you got to keep pulling out the books to figure out where you're gonna go. And I learned to get me one of them little perforated ones that's laminated that got the whole state on it. That way you can look at the state routes and say, yeah, this is where I'm at, and I can keep coming here. Now you have to learn something about the state route. You can't go by the name. See, that's what we go by. No, I'm on Main Street. No, don't tell me no damn name. Tell me the number. Most people don't know nothing about it. What you mean the number? The number don't change. You see that number 14? It go all the way around, but it take 12 turns. But that's 14 right there. 14 gonna bring you all the way to Florida from Georgia. Okay. Keep talking them names if you want to. 14 changed name 28 times. So if you trying to recognize street names, that ain't gonna work. Just something as simple as that. It's gonna completely shake us up. We have gotten spoiled because we winning. But that first L gonna hurt. And get ready for people to panic when they not winning. See, the stuff we go get, I ain't trying to go against the government or trying to set up something. I'm just trying to be ready for the fool who ain't used to taking an L. Cause he gonna lash out at your house. Go ahead.
You know, brother, and just verse 2 alone is significant with what's going on right now. It says, take the millstone and grind meal. What are you grinding in the millstone? Wheat. Who are the biggest producers of wheat? Ukraine and Russia.
Right.
We're not in a position to know how to grind our own stuff. Verse 3.
And a lot of African nations are suffering as well because of that. So, you know, I remember that thing that Harrell sent, and it was a female talking about, you know, people saying that this is a white war. Like, you know how many Africans finna starve because of what's going on there? Go ahead.
Verse 3, your nakedness shall be uncovered. Yes, your shame shall be seen.
Right. And my elder used to always say, what is a shame? What she's done to us. That is the biggest shame. You should look at some of the things that we put out, saying, America telling everybody what to do. Yet, they're not taking their own advice in their own country. But if you're just looking at CNN, you're not going to hear that perspective. But this is how the other people across the water see. Go ahead.
I'll take vengeance, and I'll not meet you as a man. As for our Redeemer, Yahweh of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. Sit you silent and get you into darkness, O daughter of the Chaldeans. For you shall no more be called the Lady of Kingdoms. I was angry with my people. I have polluted mine inheritance and given them into your hand. You did show them no mercy. Upon the ancient have you very heavily laid your yoke.
Right. So then we see why things were able to happen to Israel. See? But what happened is the nations have boasted because of the things that they've been able to do to us. But that's only because Yahweh removed our power. So as he picks the remnant that he's going to give that power back to, things going to get interesting. That's why he says, then the nations shall know why you went into captivity. Because I did it. Had I not taken your strength, none of these nations would have been able to do anything to you. But they're going to find that out when they give it back. Go ahead.
And you said, I shall be a lady forever, so that you did not lay these things to your heart, neither did remember the latter end of it.
Right. They don't have no reason to listen to anything because they winning. And when you're winning, you don't want to hear anybody tell you, I know you run pretty fast, but the way you run your routes not good. You know what I'm saying? You need to cut better. You need to sell, the fake better. Man, I'm winning. Nobody trying to hear what you saying. Telling me I need to get better. Why I need to get better? I'm winning. They don't listen to that advice until they take that L. Now all of a sudden that advice is golden. What you have said about my routes now? Oh, something must have happened. You willing to take my advice now? What happened? I took a L. Right. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
But that's if they decide to come and get help. Some people take that L and walk away.
Right.
Quit.
Right.
And your girl Ronda Rousey.
Yeah. Yep. But she was very boastful while she was winning.
Mm-hmm.
So nasty and arrogant in every interview. She was so nasty that people was hoping she lost every fight. Every fight she won, you can see how people were disappointed. And I started to understand why. I hated her interviews. She was so nasty. She was nasty to the interviewer who was interviewing her about her win. These are people that are helping get her out there. She's so nasty and arrogant. She's arrogant to these people. They're like, we're having you on our show because we like what you did. Why are you being nasty to every last one of us? That nasty stopped when she took that L. She got just a tad bit nicer, right? Then she took that second L, she just got gone. She got gone. You never seen, I heard she went into wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Now she went into fake fighting, because real fighting hurt. That you realize that real fighting hurt. But see, what happened? All the hate mail came because it was like, you didn't have to be that nasty while you were winning. Well, take a look around you. The nastiness is happening. It's because they're winning. Wait till the first L comes. You are about to see some things. Everybody boasting. One of the brothers said something showing all the weapons of how gun hungry Americans are. And it was showing these Gentiles, and some of them had like guns in the shape of Texas on the ground. Some of them had guns. This is how many guns. They had guns all in the house. They had guns everywhere. It was just the most armed everything. That comes from one place. But when that L comes, you are about to see some panic like you have never seen before. I mean, think about it. A couple of us show up at the corner store. People panic, think that we finna do something to them. Why do you think that way? Now, what happens, it's real easy to put the blame on a certain color. When the people realize that the folks that's coming for them don't look like us, the panic is going to really set in. You have spent all your time and energy watching and profiling everything that we've done. And now you realize that the destruction that is coming to you is not coming at our hand. Don't you think that my God is better than that? Don't you think that my God is smarter than that? You harm these group of people, so your whole focus is to watch everything that they did. Every time they move, you watch them. He's not going to let your judgment come from the same place that you did the wrong. So you can spend all your time watching them people. It's not going to help you, because that's not where your judgment going to come from. Go ahead.
Therefore hear now this, you that are given to pleasures, that dwelleth carelessly, that says in your heart, I am, and none else beside me.
And we part of this too. We are part of this too. Because we have bought into the scheme. Go ahead.
I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to you in a moment in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon you in their perfection for the multitude of your sorceries, and for the great abundance of your enchantments. For you have trusted in your wickedness. You have said, none sees me. Your wisdom and your knowledge, it has perverted you. And you have said in your heart, I am, and none else beside me.
Right. Winning does that, meant to come from any other direction. They've only prepared for judgment to come from us. Everything is about a black uprising. And we ain't trying to rise up against nothing. They're not prepared for a white uprising. They're not prepared for an Asian uprising. And the thing that they are not prepared for, that is your weakness. Go ahead.
You know, I spoke to a paratrooper a couple weeks ago, and the brother told me point blank, we're on the battlefield every day here. We just don't know it.
You just don't have the right information to know what's happening. So, ignorance is bliss. So you ignorantly walk around believing that there's peace. So you keep on doing what you do. Go ahead.
Stand now with your enchantments and with the multitude of your sorceries, wherein you have labored from your youth. If so be, you shall be able to profit. If so be, you may prevail. You are wearied in the multitude of your counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save you from these things that shall come upon you. Behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. Thus shall they be unto you with whom you have labored, even your merchants from your youth. They shall wander, everyone to his quarter. None shall save you.
Right. And what it's talking about now is this international trade. Everyone shall wander to his quarter. He going back to his land. See, all these people come here for commerce. But we don't understand the evil that capitalism has brought forth. It makes a way for everybody to make a dollar at the hand of somebody else. That we can take away this, as long as we call it a certain thing, then we can do this. I don't know if you guys see some of those reports when they talk about they go into this thing and they talk about inflation. They talk about just how bad economy-wise things have gotten since COVID. Then you have to have that other. Keep listening. COVID has made the most billionaires. See, while we out there arguing to get the jab or not to get the jab, this thing has made more billionaires in a short period of time like nobody's business. So the poor have gotten poor and the rich have gotten extraordinarily rich. While we talking about take this, take that, all these people getting paid. So we don't understand. Every last one of them things that people taking into them, the government paid for that. So these people have become billionaires by this sickness. Go ahead, brother. Read this note here.
This country has repeatedly shown people of color no mercy. From generation to generation, the yoke changes, yet it remains the same. Me and my family often watch the news together and hear the countless swimming, boat accidents, and deaths on Lake Lanier, and would reply that there's something wrong with that place.
Now, I remember having this conversation, and one of my family members stated that the place was haunted. And little did I know, the place was haunted. Start reading at the bottom where the drownings are.
Drownings, 32 of 65, or 49.2%, occurred on Lake Lanier.
Now, when we would talk about Lake Lanier, a lot of people go, they say, oh man, this is nice, man. Let's go to Lake Lanier. Let's go. And I was like, man, there's too much happened at Lake Lanier. We did a wedding at Lake Lanier. It was like, bro, it's too much happened here. Keep reading.
20 of 33, or 60.6%, occurred on Lake Lanier. Boating fatalities.
All right.
BUIs, 265 of 584, or 45.4%, occurred on Lake Lanier.
Yeah, these are people that's drunk. All right. Yeah, they boating under the influence. So that's one of the things that's common there. You know, get you a speedboat, get high and fly. Go ahead.
Total boating incidents, 174 of 342, or 50.8%, occurred on Lake Lanier.
All right. So then we have to then look at some things. Read the next. Go to the next graphic.
What is now Lake Lanier was formerly known as Oscarville. Oscarville was a black town in the near vicinity to one of the most racist areas in Georgia. It is Forsyth County.
Now, if a lot of people don't remember a lot of things that have taken place in some of those areas, but when you look at why some of these things have happened, it makes sense when you understand some other things. I ended up running into 2 articles back to back, and it was crazy how that ended up happening, and they both were saying the same thing. Go ahead.
As the ever so common story goes, white people claim some black people broke the law. They tried, convicted, and judged those people to death instantly. That wasn't enough though. The whites then went into the town and killed and or drove out all the people of color. The town of Oscarville was flooded. There are buildings, graves, schools, etc., all under this pile of water. This pile of water is now known as Lake Lanier.
Stop. So when the statement was said that this place is haunted, man, it was grave sites and everything all up under that. It was a whole town. So oftentimes they'll say, you know, the person went fishing or they was swimming and then they just went missing. It's whole buildings under this water. A whole black town is under this water that everybody go to party and have a good time on. So when you go back to the haunted statement, if those grave stones is floating under there, you got bodies under there. These people had to be. You don't think they let the black people bury their folk in the white part of town, did you? You didn't think that, did you? So then where you think they buried them at? Go ahead.
This pile of water is now known as Lake Lanier. This is a place where affluent white go to play and enjoy themselves. Skimming on top of the black town they murdered and ran away from their land.
And we know that this happens time and time and time again. When you talk about you have so heavily laid the yoke upon my people, understand, most of our folks don't even know that we have built towns, that we have done all of those things. What ends up happening, some issues happen whenever we build something and it becomes too successful. Go ahead.
Many of you may remember the name of Forsyth County. Oprah Winfrey led a group of people there in 1987 and knew that they'd better get out of there by sundown if they wanted to make it out alive.
This was a common statement in Forsyth County, that if you had to work there, you better be out before the sun go down. Because when the sun goes down, other things go down. So even when they allowed people of color to move around in this area, they were allowed to move during the daylight. But you better move. And now our people can't stop moving in these areas. But understand, you still got pockets of these people and their children, and you get caught in the wrong place, you're going to have some problems. Go ahead, brother. Go to the next graphic.
Very heavily have they laid the yoke upon Yah's people. When people of color rose without the help of whites, their city was either burnt or flooded. The situation of Oscarville was not an isolated incident.
Right, and just going through some stuff, we ran into a video that I ended up sending to a couple of the brothers. Read this.
Here's a list of other black towns that have been flooded and their land taken. Oscarville, Georgia became Lake Lanier after it was flooded on purpose by Forsyth County. Coalinga, Alabama was buried under Lake Martin. York Hill, New York was buried under the Central Park Reservoir.
Right, these are all places that's still there, but there was a black town up under it. Go ahead.
Seneca Village, New York was destroyed at Central Park, and Central Park, was built on top of it.
So Central Park got two black towns under it. All right, read some of the other ones.
Henry Island, Alabama, Kenneth, California, Beard, California, Elmore, California, Morley, California, Sonora, Colorado, Dillon, Colorado, Jerusalem, Connecticut, Old Fairfield, Indiana, Round Valley, New Jersey, Warren, Maryland, Dana, Massachusetts, Enfield, Massachusetts, Greenwick, Massachusetts, Prentice, Missouri, Brown Station, New York, Old Never Sink, New York.
Now this was the part that the lady joked about. It's actually underwater, and the name of it was Old Never Sink. They probably shouldn't have called it that name right there, because it definitely sunk. But when you talk about dealing with us very heavily, there are some things that we don't even know to count. We don't even know that these sorts of things are happening. When you talk about the haunted part, there are people that used to say that the Atlanta Falcons was cursed. And it was like, oh, they ain't never gonna win then. They're cursed. And they said, why you say that? Then you have to have those conversations. And they said, that was all hood. They took all those poor black people land and they built that stadium on it. And then they didn't give none of those people the money for that land when they took it. Said, if they wrapped up a championship, Atlanta wouldn't be able to open it. They said the curse from what you did to all those people when you took that land, that's why they wanted to get rid of that first stadium. They like, well, we got to get out over here because the curse is killing us. They started openly talking about the curse of building that on top of them people's land. And understand something. You building that on top of their land, you done ran these people off. Some of those things, little burial sites, they just push dirt over there. You wonder why you can't get in the end zone. It's a man. It's an invisible dude. They keep tackling y'all. You can't figure out, man, I was home free. I was looking at the end zone, and I'll be doggone, I just tripped over my shoelace and I fell on the one. Right? But this is customary here. So for us to understand how to be able to deal with Yahweh and understand the heart of Yahweh, that means we got to dive into the things that he says are important unto him. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 23.
Verse 1.
You know, that information has helped me decide I ain't never going to Lakeland now. And we always had something about, I just don't know if I want to go up there. Oh, I'm pretty sure I don't want to go now. Go ahead, brother.
Ever since I came to this state and people talked to me about that lake, I was like, nah, y'all can have it.
It's too many accidents happening. It's too many. Usher lost the son there. Usher's son drowned at, bruh, it is too many things happen there. Then you found out, wait a minute. It's like watching the Poltergeist movie.
Wait a minute. Y'all built a house on top of the burial ground.
Then you find out, wait a minute. Y'all built a lake on top of a town. Okay, but y'all didn't move the town. You just put water on it. Are you kidding me right now? So there's sometimes that people will be in the water, and then all of a sudden, they not in the water no more. And you were like, wasn't it a dude just right there? And here's where it gets crazy. They'll come in with a search team, won't find that person for months. It was like they were right here. They won't find them for months because of all them buildings and rocks and all this other stuff that's down there. They won't even know where they went. Now, did something pull them down? Did they get stuck in something? What happened? I don't know, but I ain't going. Go ahead, brother. Deuteronomy chapter 23, and let's read verses 1 through 8.
He that is wounded in the stones or has his privy member cut off shall not enter into the congregation of Yah.
Now, a lot of these things that Yahweh has to give regulations for is for the parents. Because for the benefit of dealing with heathenistic nations, we would allow certain things to happen with our children. You know, you think about something. It was like the brothers was talking about it when they was, in the service. You go overseas and, the women try to hand their kid off to you. Here, take her with you. Well, in certain situations, the people will deal with things. The kid who is in a situation of being able to work somewhere. Certain countries, certain powerful entities, when they take on a person of color into their realm, they do something to that person to make sure that they don't have any issues. So, if you're going to work in the big house, they castrate you. They cut off the stones. They ain't never got to worry about you messing with any other women there. Then you have people who want that certain advancements for their children, so they would let that happen to the children. So Yahweh had to make sure, look, I'm telling you now, they ain't never going to be able to come in my sanctuary if you cut off them parts. Now, you have to ask yourself now, wait a minute. Now we get down to the LGBTQ situation. Hold on. Come on, Cletus. Hold on. I'm just reading here now. I didn't write this. All right. He that is wounded in the stones or have his privy member cut off shall not enter into the congregation of Yahweh. The Methodists, I think, just had a big old falling out because their organization is getting ready to change how they look at LGBTQ and whether or not they can be allowed in the church. How about now the church is about to divide into a whole nother section of Methodists. But see, I kept trying to explain to people that the church denominations are franchises. You can only do what the franchise tell you to do. So if you're a Baptist, you have to teach the way the Baptists tell you to teach. That's why if people wanted to actually use the name of Yahshua, they had to become non-denominational because on their paperwork they said,
No, Jesus is our Lord. That's all you can talk about here.
so you think your pastor don't know or your ex-pastor didn't know? No, he couldn't say it. That's why they started pulling away. And who started one of the biggest ones saying it? Joel Osteen. Started saying Yahshua. But guess what? He don't have to listen to no organization. See? Learn the difference. The freedom of speech is based on what things you sign your name to. If we start getting government grants, we can own all kind of buildings. But you're gonna notice.
Hey, who's the white guy that come and sit in the back? And he's sitting there writing down. Suck said, what?
After the sermon,
Sermon, Suck, can we talk to you for a second?
what?
Yeah, we the grant committee. You know, we'd like to talk to you. See, this is a violation of the money that you received. You mess around and, you know, you said that Yahweh loved Israel. What we do here is we say Yahweh loves everybody, regardless of their color, creed, or sexual orientation. So we need you to correct that, or we're going to take away your building.
What? Right. Go ahead, brother.
You know, in the verse 1, you said this was directed towards the parents, right? Now we think about this day and age when parents are being convinced that you can make a sexual decision for your child before they can even make the decision for themselves.
Yeah. Or even letting a child make the decision when they like 7.
You know, the child said he didn't want to be a little boy no more.
At 7? At 7, I wanted to be a superhero. Should my mama have went out and bought me capes?
You know, here, baby. And you would, and I know you, look, just jump off the side of the house with that trash bag and you'll just.
No, you will not.
I did try that though, I ain't gonna lie. What? Now this whole child's life, at some point, a child need to have a good, stern ass whooping. Not that, you know, I decided that I don't want to be such and such. All right, well, I'm going to beat your ass until you do. Now, if you want to make that decision out my house, I ain't got no control over that. But I'm going to tell you, there shall be no stones or privy members going anywhere as long as you live chair. You understand what I'm saying to you? We shall keep all stones and privy members. You understand what I'm saying to you? That's how people allow folks to make these decisions. I looked at this thing where and if you don't know no better, or if you come in at a certain place, you don't even understand what's going on. They keep talking about Dwayne Wade and his daughter Zaya. Now, if you come in the middle of this conversation, you don't really know that that's a boy. It's in a dress. It's sitting there saying, you know, Zaya is going through all these, you know, unfair treatment. I was like, why are they doing that to that little girl? Then I read and I was like, oh, damn, that's not a little girl. It depends on where you come in on this story. You don't even understand what's happening here. So before the hate mail come to me, I need you to read verse 1 again.
He that is wounded in the stones
All
or
right.
has his privy member cut off
Uh-huh.
shall not enter into the congregation of Yahweh.
Hey, man, I didn't write this. This is not Esau's Bible. This is not, and I know some people,
I wonder what Bible he read. Damn sure can't be the King James.
I didn't make this. I'm just reading it. Yahweh said you can't come in here. Now, I don't know whose job it is to have privy member check. I don't know. I don't know if that was part of the choir. If that's the man at the door, I don't know whose job that is to find out.
Hey, what's happening, bro? Hey, Shabbat Shalom. You know what I'm saying? Look here, man. Do you have your stones?
What?
Brother, is your privy member with you? Is what I'm saying.
What? I don't know whose job that is. Okay? I ain't covered that part yet. I'm reading it at the same speed y'all reading it, okay? But apparently, somebody knew something about something for this. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, bro.
A bastard shall not enter into the congregation of Yahweh.
Now you start to understand why you have the people that says, I'm Jewish through my mother. Now, what is a bastard?
See, we was told, somebody, what I'm saying, that don't have a father is a bastard.
That's not the definition of bastard in this book. That's when an Israelite decides to have kids by a heathen woman. See, we got our own definition of bastard. And see, we don't consider this. Now, Yahweh is taking care of some things here. So he letting them know, you understand what you're doing? All right, you want to go out there? Go ahead. Just know they can't come in my house. See, we're not paying attention like that. Go ahead.
Even to his 10th generation shall he not enter into the congregation of Yahweh.
Even to his 10th generation. We're not paying attention. Go ahead.
An Ammonite or Moabite shall not enter into the congregation of Yahweh. Even to their 10th generation shall they not enter into the congregation of Yahweh forever.
Right, by 10th generation, everything done got mixed in and mixed out. Yahweh's Now this Yahweh's word here. So understand. This is not Esaac ben Israel. This is not the United Congregation of Israel. This ain't the UCI. This is Yahweh's word. Go ahead.
Because they met you not with bread and with water in the way, when you came forth out of Egypt. And because they hired against you Balaam, the son of Beor of Pethor of Mesopotamia, to curse you. Nevertheless, Yahweh your Elohim would not hearken unto Balaam. But Yahweh your Elohim turned the curse into a blessing unto you, because Yahweh Elohim loved you.
Now consider this. They can't come in because they curse you. But Yahweh didn't allow them to curse you. But because they tried to curse you, they still can't come. Go ahead.
You shall not seek their peace nor their prosperity all your days forever.
Mm-hmm.
You shall not abhor an Edomite, for he is your brother. You shall not abhor an Egyptian, because you was a stranger in his land.
And do we consider that? When you look at us, I saw a new person of another ethnicity walking around the block today in my neighborhood. We don't mess with them folk. The folk can come in and just walk the neighborhood. You go around to somebody else's neighborhood and you reverse chocolate chip, get there. You finna find out how much heat it take to melt a chocolate chip. Oh, the first one go through hell. Man, we don't do that. When folk walk through our neighborhood, say, hey, we be like, hey, how you doing? Go ahead, bro.
The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of Yahweh in their 3rd generation.
Mm-hmm. So then, if we pay attention and consider some things, this is a pretty heavy situation. Brother, read the things on the next graphic.
We must understand that it was a custom of white slave owners to castrate or cut off the privy members of house slaves.
House slaves. All right, go ahead.
The field slaves could keep their privy members as they bred them like dogs to produce more slaves.
Right.
There are some documents that state the reasons the Arabs and the Asians don't have black population problems, even though they had slaves, was solely because they both castrated all the black males.
Right. And that's something that we give these people a pass on. We don't even pay attention to what, has gone down. They don't have major black populations, how did they do it? Castrating them. So these places will openly take the women, but then castrate the males. Go ahead.
When we speak about slavery, most people believe that this is an ancient custom that we need not speak about anymore because it is extinct.
All right, next graphic.
The 2016 Global Slavery Index,
2016. Go ahead.
released on Tuesday, May 31st, by the Australia-based Walk Free Foundation, concludes that 2/3 of the estimated 45.8 million people trapped in modern-day slavery are living in the Asia-Pacific region. India tops the list with some 18.35 million modern slaves, followed by China, 3.39 million, Pakistan, 2.13 million, Bangladesh, 1.53 million, and Uzbekistan, 1.23 million, the report said.
Now, we have to then look at how we set up some of those things. See, we look at something like that and we don't see where it connects to us. But we're going to get to how it connects to us. Go ahead.
As a percentage of the population, North Korea leads the pack with 4.37% of the isolated East Asian nations, 25 million people enslaved, while Uzbekistan, 3.97%, and Cambodia, 1.65%, trailed North Korea. We do estimate that about 2/3 of the nearly 46 million people trapped in slavery are in Asia. Given its population size and integration into global value chains, the Asia Pacific is a region where a lot of low-cost labor is made available to produce the goods and services that we all consume.
That's how we're connected. See, we just want to make sure, we get the nicest DVD player for the low cost. We helping that slave labor because we don't ask any questions. And what happened here with passing all the laws so that things didn't have to be made here and could be made overseas, our government helped shift the power toward China and these other places. I was getting ready to work on something and got ready to order the part, and the thing said, "Oh, you can't get this part. It's stuck in Chinese customs." That was 2 days ago. So you can't even order it. We got to work out something with China. So you have more and more things that cannot be done here because the powers that be shifted it all to go overseas. So what did they do? They just basically shifted the work to other slave markets. So they so-called freed their slaves, but then took all of the jobs, and then the Gentiles blame us for that. They even took the job. Look, we ain't got it either. They sent that stuff over to China. So this is how this thing, hits back unto us, that you have all of this slave thing going on. I myself like certain towns, but there's certain towns you need to be weary of. There was a brother who comes here off and on, and he comes from, he lives in Savannah, and he knows that, man, I love visiting Savannah. He said, man, be careful in Savannah. Anytime you got a port city, I wouldn't let my girls go to school there. People don't understand a certain thing. Do you understand in a port city, your baby could disappear at the drop of a dime? And let me tell you something. Once they get over that first hill of water, you will never see them again. First of all, once they hit the waters, that's maritime law.
Mm-hmm.
You do understand that's different law. Nobody even considers these things. So these folks go out to a party and then you never see them again. Them port cities, they on a boat, it's a done deal. They are now slaves for the rest of their life. But all we think about is that it don't happen to us. But that's the reason why you're hearing the bold talk come against this country. People have been saying for generations, for decades, I've been hearing Gentiles say, we make a mistake with China. They knew it. But they knew the powers that be wasn't going to stop it. Well, now, let those people build everything. Let them have all the technology. Now, we got brand new trucks that can't even come off the showroom floor because America don't have the chips. And now, they in between a rock and a hard place. They done spent all of this money dealing with Ukraine. Man, grand scheme of things, we can do without the wheat. All right, we'll still survive. Let me tell you something. If China get a hand on Taiwan, they definitely in between a rock and a hard place. All of the chips, America has allowed Taiwan to make all the computer chips. If China get their hand on that, China rules the world. Because they taking that technology. Why do you think they paused and let them keep going? They just all of a sudden saying it's theirs? They've been saying it's theirs. Why are they all of a sudden now pushing it? Because they let you keep winning. So what happened? Silicon Valley stopped making chips. Silicon Valley can't even produce the chip. This is a industry that was formed in Silicon Valley, but America kept winning. So they got lax. Taiwan took over. Now all the computer chips being made there. That means they have everybody's technology. Because if you need a chip to run your truck, you have to then give them your papers to your truck. If you need a chip to operate your missile, you got to give them the paper to your missile. Now, all they got to do is take over them. They got everybody's paperwork to everything. Not to mention, China has been buying all of the medical DNA. They have everybody's medical DNA. This is how they can make specifically ethnic weapons. That they can make a disease that only targets a black man. And everybody around, they can spread it, they can drop that right in the middle of an auditorium, and only the black men get sick. Not the black women, not the white man, not the white woman. Just the black man. Now understand, that is how China already operated, because they castrated their slaves, men. They kept the women. They castrated the men. So then when you hear that they have the ability to make diseases that will only kill certain genetic ethnicities, understand what they're doing. They're doing the same thing that they did during their slavery. Go ahead, brother. Did you have something?
They also have that, I don't know exactly the percentage and stuff, but they also have TikTok. So they have all of our facial recognition and everything.
Uh-huh.
Well, you over there with the filters doing, having fun with your family. They got all your information and everything just off of TikTok.
And they were trying to that's why Crazy Man was trying to take TikTok down, because he was like, look, y'all gotta understand what's happening with this, and that facial recognition is off the chain. When I first saw it on Facebook, it threw me. I put up one picture and that circle went around everybody in the picture. Would you like to tag these people? I said, what?
Had their names and everything.
From their face, it pulled up every name that was in that picture. I said, whoa. Man, our cameras got facial recognition. I know it's going to scare the hell out of me. The one time I go home and that camera said, welcome home, Esaac. What? Hey, hold on now. Hold on now. And what are they going to do with all that technology? there's another thing that we have to do when you talk about the things that we go through. Go to the next graphic, because what I'm looking at here when it says holding you back so that you may come up. This is something that people don't understand. We want whatever we think is possible. I don't know if you guys noticed that the USA Gymnasts have a lawsuit against the FBI. The FBI is being sued by Simone Biles and up to 90 gymnasts who were violated by a USA team doctor. They are seeking $1 billion in damages because the FBI knew and purposely allowed him to continue. Now, this is the Federal Bureau of Investigation. They supposed to be the top people, right? But they let all of these people get harmed. Now, what if you pushing your son, your daughter to be in all of these things? You don't realize Yahweh held you back for a reason. We see somebody like Michael Jackson, we say, oh man, he's so rich, because that's all we think about. Oh, he got money, and boy, when you hear about what their life was like, you realize Yahweh did me a solid not letting me get in that industry. I want to read something. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 12. See, we want to achieve a whole lot of things here. So then this is where it gets interesting. Some of the holding back is coming from the adversary, the devil. But then some of the things that are the holding back is coming from Yahweh. This is how it gets confusing unto us. Because you can't imagine, if Yahweh loved me, why would he keep something from me? 2 Corinthians chapter 12, and let's read verses 1 through 10.
It is not expedient for me, doubtless, to glory. I'll come to visions and revelations of the Adonai. I knew a man in the Mashiach above 14 years ago. Whether in the body, I cannot tell, or whether out of the body, I cannot tell. Elohim knows. Such an one caught up to the third heaven. And I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell. Elohim knows. How that he was caught up into paradise, and heard unspeakable words, which it is not lawful for a man to utter. Of such an one will I glory, yet of myself I will not glory, but in mine infirmities. For though I would desire to glory, I shall not be a fool, for I will say the truth. But now I forbear, lest any man should think of me above that which he sees me to be, or that he hears of me. And lest I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of the revelations. There was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure.
So then, Yahweh, as this individual has the ability to heal other people, Yahweh has given him a thorn in the flesh to humble him, and he's not taking it away. There's some things that you may be praying about, they ain't going to leave you. Because he said, this is the only reason I can keep you doing what you're supposed to be doing. You get faster, your thorn get faster. You get slippery, your thorn get slippery too. Where we going? Because I've been assigned to you. But then you have to consider, Yahweh did this for his own good. What happens if he does not have this thorn? Does he magnify himself and turn into something else? What happens if we achieve everything that we want to achieve? There was a point that they were saying Simone Biles was going to win all these gold medals. And out of nowhere, she just stopped. And they were like, what are you doing? Yeah, but y'all don't know she was going through hell, though. You looking at a little smiling girl, and you think, oh, man, she got a gold medal. She's a gymnast. Everything's going good. Yeah, but do you know the horror that her and all them little girls are going through? So people think she crazy. How did you got this close? And you stopped. And they said she had mental issues. And people started to dog out. So, when you look at the things that you were trying to do and Yahweh held you back, have you ever considered that he might have saved your life? You realize that some of these people ain't never going to be right. Some of these people are going to be on drugs the rest of their life. Some of these people are going to forever not be able to have a good relationship because of these things. And what happened? Seeking fortune, fame, and glory, and wanting to do all of these things in the world. And understand, she ended up living with somebody else in the family who helped all of these things. And you think, man, that was good. But what if it ends up causing this girl later to want to commit suicide or do some harm to herself? How good was doing all of those things now? Do we even consider that? People had all kind of things to say. When they talk about a $1 billion lawsuit, do you understand how big of a number that is? That's over 90 gymnasts. We're talking about people who got gold medals. And this spans back decades that they have allowed for this man to do this. All while smiling in their parents' face, telling them that everything is fine. But these kids been brainwashed heavily. Go ahead, brother.
You know, even with this thorn in the flesh, we see the picture of a rose and we look at the physical form. Hey, man, but as brothers and sisters in this walk, we all need to be each other's thorn in the flesh to keep each other on the path of righteousness.
That thorn could save your life. But see, we don't want to be a thorn. What we want to do is agree with everything somebody wants. I knew a man who had a decent amount of money. You know, he worked a lot. And his son was a screw up. Every time his son wrecked a car, this man would give his son another car. And I mean, he'd get drunk and wreck it. He'd do all of those things. And every time he lost something, he would give him something else. That dude eventually ended up going to prison. Kept getting into something, and sooner or later he got into something that his folks couldn't get him out of. And it's that thing that we think we're doing good, and there's certain times that you got to have enough love to say, you know, even if you are dealing with a 3-year-old, 3-year-old gonna eat as much ice cream as you let them. But you know you gonna be the one dealing with them when their stomach start hurting too, though, right? When they get to crying, they gonna be crying, pointing at you, why my stomach hurt? Like, nah, it's your fault. Hey, you the one asked for the ice cream. I gave you the ice cream. Well, at some point, you got to love somebody enough to say no. We think we loving them by saying yeah. No, if you love them, you'd have said no. No, you can't have no more ice cream. You gonna be in pain. And then I'm gonna be in pain because you in pain. Because you gonna keep whining and I ain't gonna get no sleep. So this is motivated for the both of us. And then you're gonna learn a bad habit. And then bad habits gonna keep following you. So Yahweh loved Saul enough to give him a thorn. We don't think that's love. That's love. Because I'm going to keep a whole lot of stuff from happening to you by giving you this thorn. You can pray about it all you want. You can write poems about it. You can write songs about it. You can sing and dance about, oh, my thorn, my thorn, my thorn, the thorn, the thorn, thorn. You can do whatever the hell you want to do. But guess what? When you wake up in the morning, it's going to be right there. Because I assigned this to make you stay in the way. You might be fussing at your thorn. And your thorn might be the only reason you sitting where you supposed to be sitting. Look around and see the people that you don't see. Maybe they thorn said,
why you gonna go there today? Why don't you just come just sit and hang out with me?
And maybe your thorn worried you so much.
Damn it, I gotta go to church. If I don't, I'm gonna hurt somebody.
Hey, bro, it is what it is. It is what it is. You where you supposed to be, right? Okay. Did you finish that up?
Verse 8. For this thing I besought the Adonai 3 times, that it might depart from me.
Uh-huh.
And he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness.
My strength is made perfect in weakness. I'm not taking it away. You can keep praying. And you got to think about what kind of mind screw that is. That he can heal other people, but he can't heal himself. Go ahead.
Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities than the power of the Mashiach, that the power of the Mashiach may rest upon me.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, I take pleasure in mine infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distress for the Mashiach's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong.
Right. Let me see if I go past that. I think we're going to stop right here. And Yah's will, we know that we are going to be back here at sundown to celebrate the Feast of Weeks, or as it is more commonly called, Pentecost. And we also know that all males must make an appearance, and we will do those things at sundown, which is roughly 8:45 or so will we be getting started. We'll go from there, and we will announce when or what time we're going to go and make our appearance, so that everybody else can pray at the same time that we're doing it, so that we can do our thing together as a family, even though we are spread all across the country. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.